Today on the Sunday Sports Sermon, we're talking the New York Jets preseason game coming up Monday night against the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk about that dreaded disease a lot of us Jets fans are inflicted with, what we're going to do about it, one or two things from around the NFL I found interesting. Also, we're going to do a top 5 countdown today, the top 5 Major League Baseball stadiums that I have not been to yet, but I hope to go to one day. It's the Sunday Sports Sermon. Time to preach. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am Y2K99. Thank you for taking the time to watch the Sunday Sports Sermon. And I am proud to be back and doing this video with you today. So the first thing I want to talk about here is the Jets and their upcoming preseason game against Atlanta. They've had joint practices the last 2 days. The Jets have basically dominated the Falcons on both sides of the ball. The big question seems to be, will Robert Saleh play his starters in this game? It seems as though after Zach Wilson's injury, a lot of us are going through these feelings. It's like, well, we can't risk getting another guy injured. You put a guy on a football field, there's a risk he's going to get injured. But there's also a risk he's going to learn more and he's going to succeed, and that might be a good thing. The most important thing, granted, with the preseason in the NFL is to avoid as many significant injuries as possible. But I think there are certain parts of this team where we really need to figure out what we have. We need to know who our starters are. Now, if they want to rest a Carl Lawson or a Quinnen Williams, we know that they're starters on the defensive line. I understand that. But when you look at situations like free safety, where we really don't have a starter, the Jets really haven't had one player emerge yet. Could be LaMarcus Joyner, could be Jason Pinnock. Will Parks is making a little bit of noise. Ashton Davis is somehow still kicking around on this roster. So that is where you really need to see some starters, because there are players who need to prove themselves at this point. The offensive line is something that I really wanted to see get some time in this game on Monday, but Dwayne Brown is still not practicing with the team. That's supposed to start next week. So even if you do that, what are you doing? You're basically plugging in Chuma Edoga at left tackle, which doesn't exactly give me the warm and fuzzies all over. So I do hope that the rest of the offensive line will at least play a couple of series, because I think it's very important that they build a little bit of cohesion getting them ready for the Ravens on September 11th. Now, a couple of things I do want to see in this game. The free safety battle, I already mentioned that. I want to see more of Bam Knight. I've been excited about him. Now, granted, as an NC State fan, I have a little bit of extra excitement about anybody who comes from the Wolfpack. See Jericho Cotchery, for instance. So let's see how much time he gets. I am wondering if he can maybe unseat Tevin Coleman as the team's third running back. This is a roster where the Jets are going to have to cut some players, and it's going to hurt. There are some positions where, you know what, you really can't take an excess number of players. I expect this team to take 10 defensive linemen. There are those who think that the Jets are going to keep 10 offensive linemen, which to me seems like a lot. But if you're going to do things like that, and also 3 quarterbacks at this point with Zach's injury, I got to be honest, I was kind of thinking maybe just Zach Wilson and Joe Flacco would be enough through the season. But with the Wilson injury, you pretty much have to keep Mike White on the roster for a little bit. So to me, I want to figure out what's going on with this running back situation. Will it just be 3? You could get away with 3, but do you really want the insurance with a run-first offense? Do you want to take the 4 running backs? Then again, this offense is very tight end focused. I mean, Mike LaFleur likes a 2 tight end offense. We saw it at the beginning of last season when he tried to run it with Ryan Griffin and Tyler Kroft, and well, we know how that worked out, or it didn't work out. But with such a focus on tight ends, I think that 4 tight ends makes focus over 4 running backs on this roster. So to me, tight end is another thing that we have to look at. We know who 3 of the tight ends are. They're all brand new: C.J. Uzomah, Ty Conklin, and Jeremy Ruckert. Will they keep that 4th tight end? Well, right now, there really is a battle. Trevon Wesco, you have Lawrence Cager, you have Kenny Yeboah. And it seems as though Cager is the one who's making the biggest impact, at least in the passing game. But with the way that he's playing right now, you have to wonder, Lawrence Cager, who's a converted wide receiver, is he more than just a receiving, really oversized wide receiver? Does he know how to block? Do the coaches trust him to block? Because think about it, if you put Lawrence Cager on the field at this point, well, the defense can pretty much figure out he's likely not going to be blocking. They could all but assume that it's going to be a pass play. So you have to be careful about putting one-dimensional players on the field too much. I like Kenny Yeboah. We have not heard a whole lot about him over the course of the preseason. This really isn't a time for sentimentality. It feels like as Jets fans, we've gone through a lot of periods where we've had these undrafted free agents, or we signed these scraps from other teams and hope that we'll be the ones to rehabilitate them. We'll be their reclamation project. We're going to make these players great again. How often does that really work out? Aaron Maybin worked out for maybe a week. Okay. So realistically, if something like that does work out, if you get one undrafted free agent who's super productive, well, you got to be happy about it, but you can't count on it. So for me, the 3 versus 4 tight end thing is going to be interesting, and who will emerge as that 4th tight end? I would like for it to be Cager, but he has to show that he is not just a receiver, and also that he could stay healthy, which will come with time. Another thing to look at, will Michael Clemens play? Now the rest of Jets Nation is figuring out what you and I already knew, that the man is an outright beast. Now in the last scrimmage, he did get his ribs banged up against the helmet. The helmet, I believe, is currently in ICU, so thoughts and prayers to the helmet and the family of the helmet. We wish it all the best. So let's see if Clemens is supposed to be okay. I'll certainly be watching to see if he gets onto the field. So those are the main things that I'm going to be looking at. Now, as far as looking at the season up ahead, I believe that there's a good portion of Jets fans who are suffering from the dreaded disease of PTJD, post-traumatic Jets disorder. These are the folks who, and I've been in this place, just no matter who's on the roster, the fact that the name Jets is on their helmet and that New York is across their chest, we're naturally going to be hesitant to trust them too deeply. And there's a lot of old-time fans, a lot of people on the media and on the radio. I don't need to say names, but you probably know the types of folks that I'm talking about. Never denying their passion for the team, but I do have an issue with this attitude of writing off a player after 1 year, but refusing to believe in a good player after 1 year. You have a good portion of Jets fans who have already declared Zach Wilson to be a bust, but refuse to believe in the potential of Elijah Moore. Why is that? It just doesn't make sense. It's just the only thing I can think of is the PTJD, this post-traumatic stress disorder. My thought is this: like I said, if you take the Jets off of the logo, off the uniform, would you feel comfortable with this roster? Would you believe in this roster going forward? And looking at the raw talent, I for one do. I do believe in this team is on the right path. There's a long way to go. I am not expecting. I hate playoffs or bust. I don't like that mantra. But I do believe playoffs within 2 years, it has to happen, or there are going to be some pretty big changes. Because we've been patient as Jets fans. We've been, with all these years, Joe Douglas has built up this roster. Now they have their second-year coach. They have their second-year quarterback. That's great. We've waited. We've waited 12 years to be in the playoffs. When are the results coming? And we have to see the signs this season that they are coming. Because if we don't, then, the silent minority, as I'll call them, the ones who are already giving up on Zach Wilson, giving up. I didn't say questioning. I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about questioning them. That is completely fair to do with the head coach and the quarterback. But to give up on them already, to me, is just something that I can't get behind that. Not this year. But if we don't see something significant going into next season, I can understand it. So that's the whole idea of post-traumatic stress disorder. Don't get too infected with it. Now, I want to mention real quick on a side note, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line. There's two teams that I really hate in the NFL, the New England Patriots and whoever has Tom Brady on their roster. Well, let's look at that offensive line, shall we? It's a good thing that the Bucs absolutely strafed the New England Patriots for their right guard, Shaq Mason. They basically traded a peanut butter sandwich and a roll of quarters for him. and they got one of the best right guards in the NFL in Tampa Bay. But Ali Marpet retired. Ryan Jensen probably has a season-ending knee injury. Tristan Wirfs currently has an oblique injury. Not sure when he's going to be back. And Aaron Stinney, who's the new projected left guard, he tore his ACL on Saturday. I get the feeling that Mr. Brady might take a few extra days to come back to the team. Because right now, that Buccaneers offensive line is very vulnerable, and you could say whatever you want about Brady. Okay, other people use the certain animal to describe him, which please. But all you have to do is hit him, and he can't handle it. That's the bottom line. So, while we never wish for injuries on anybody, I have a feeling that this could expose Brady a little bit more, and I got to be honest, there's a little part of me that kind of likes that he might get hit a little more this season. Just saying. Oh, one other Jets note I want to mention. I am excited about what Corey Davis can still do in this on this offense. He has been completely forgotten. He's lost 10 to 15 pounds. He's quicker. He's more agile. And one catch that he made, I don't think I could put it up here on this video, I think with sound and copyrights and all that jazz. But go to the Jets Twitter feed from Saturday, and it's about a 20-second video of a catch he made in double coverage, practically one-handed to score a touchdown. I'm telling you, Corey Davis, like in fantasy leagues, he's not even being drafted. He's ranked like 220 overall. I'm telling you, as a fourth or a fifth receiver on a fantasy roster, I'm not saying he's going to have the most catches, but I think he's going to be one of those guys who's going to go very high on the touchdown volume. I think Elijah Moore gets the most catches, but I think of the wide receivers, Corey Davis might get as many touchdowns as anybody else on this team. It's a bold prediction, but I got the feel for it. Okay, let's switch over from football. Going to talk baseball for a minute. Mets have won 2 of the first 3 in Philadelphia. They got their Sunday game in just a few minutes, which I will be watching. It will be Jose Butto or Budo. But Mets have brought up one of their prized pitching prospects, one of the few, to start this game at Citizens Bank Park. It would be nice if Houston would actually do their job and finally beat Atlanta. You know what? If they bust out the garbage cans for Sunday, I'm all for it. In fact, I'll send them a big trash barrel, a couple of sticks to bang away, whatever it takes to beat them. Do it. All right, let's go to the top 5 countdown. So it is going to be the top 5 Major League Baseball stadiums I have not been to, but I would like to visit one day. Number 5, believe it or not, is Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. I've never been to Philly for a baseball game. A lot of it is because of the fans. But Philly is a good town in certain ways, particularly for food. Between the cheesesteaks, the hoagies, that's about all I can think of. You know, cheesesteaks, sandwiches, pretzels, just about everything. The only really good things to come out of Philadelphia are really the food and Rocky Balboa. Is there any argument? But they do have, the Xfinity Live complex over there, because I like a stadium where you could actually do something in addition to going to the game. So they've got everything laid out very well. All the stadiums are right next to each other, and it's very easy to get to. So even though I'm not at the game today, one of these days I will have to make a trip up to Philadelphia for a baseball game. Number 4 is Target Field in Minnesota. That has never quite worked out for me. To fly where I am from Virginia to Minnesota, it's not a one-day trip like you could do with some of these stadiums. The fact that there actually is outdoor baseball in Minnesota, to me, is pretty amazing. I'm surprised they didn't build a retractable roof stadium. But I like how they divide the Minneapolis and the St. Paul on the scoreboard on their logo in center field. I think Minnesota would be a cool place to watch a ball game. Number 3 is Toronto, and the main reason why is I still have never set foot in the country of Canada. Never been to the Sky Dome, to the Rogers Centre, or whatever it may be. You know, indoor stadiums are not the prettiest things in the world, but I would like to be able to go up there for one game. Number 2, San Diego, Petco Park. I will give you a story about this one. I was supposed to go with the 7-Line Army to a certain game when the Mets were traveling out there for that one series in San Diego. But the job I had at the time, I believe it was 2014, I believe was the year. It was either 14 or 15. I'm pretty sure it was 14. Might have been 15. And I had my hotel ready to go, I had my game ticket booked, and then I could not get the time off of work. Basically, I was told, sorry, we can't let you go for 2 days. It's a blackout period. At the college that I was working at the time in Chicago, they said, no, we cannot let you go. Okay. So I wound up selling my ticket, selling my hotel room, and I remember that night I was painting some canvases with a friend of mine, with a girlfriend, and we're just hanging out. And we're working on like this one project. I think we're watching a Bob Ross tutorial or something, just something to do. And next thing I know, my phone starts blowing up. I had it over in a corner because I'm painting. I didn't want to be looking at my phone. And all of a sudden, I hear zzz, 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 zzz. It was the night that my fellow Bartolo Colon, hit the home run into left field. And I was supposed to be in the stadium that night, so it would have been perfect. I'm actually wearing my Bartolo 40 shirt. I actually had a customized Bartolo 40, so I got to miss out on that game, unfortunately. One of the real disappointments that I couldn't get to that game when I was supposed to be there. Number one is Dodger Stadium in LA. This is certainly not because of the fans. It's really for the atmosphere. I've been outside Dodger Stadium in the off-season, but the fact that it has been around as long as it has, basically since the early 60s, hasn't really been changed too much. But from what I hear, it really is a fantastic place to go. The fact that it is so baseball specific, that it's like it's old school, but it doesn't feel old school. And I think there's something to be said for that. So that would be the top 5 stadiums that I hope to visit one day. I've been to a whole lot of them. I don't know. Maybe Kansas City would have been on the list if not for what happened in the 2015 World Series. So, but they're not going to be on the list anytime soon. So, all right. Well, that's what we got for today. Thank you for taking the time to view. If you like it, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. I want to hit triple digits. And check it out for more content coming from you know where. The Wicker Chair.